We are your connection to the sounds that surround you.
I'm a dog, but hit music belongs here.
I got the keys to the city.
This is Vicinity FM 95.3.
Enjoy.
Grateful for the dawn of a new day. It's the 23rd day in the month of July. Welcome on Newspaper Review, where we get to bring you all of the trending stories in our nation on the dailies and the details of this story. Do well to join the conversation this morning. We are live on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. It's Vicinity 95.3 FM. I am OLUWAFUNKE and AISHA. Welcome on the show.
Yeah, it's another morning. A cold one out there, though. So we thank God for being alive this morning. Thank you for joining the program, the newspaper review on Vicinity 95.3 FM. I am Aisha Ibrahim.
We are now taking top stories from Nigerian Tribune, The Guardian newspaper, Punch, and Daily Independent.
All right, and I'll be taking these stories on the Nation newspaper, the Daily Trust newspaper, and the Vanguard newspaper for this morning.
On Nigerian Tribune, Attorney General Fagbemi's office denies government stake in First Old Coal PLC, calls this day Arise reports malicious. Confusion persists over APC NEC meeting, governors NWC in dark over caucus. Osun PDP leaders endorse Tinubu Adeleke for second term. Owning a smartphone before age 13 linked to poor mental health. That's on health. Africa losing $90 billion annually to imported substandard fuels. Dangote laments. External reserves hit $40.1 billion in July. CBN Governor. Apex Bank maintains leading rate at 27.5%. Says 8 banks have met recapitalization requirements. FG issues fresh flood alert for 28 states. Okpebolo insists Obi must inform him before visiting Edo State.
And from the Nation newspaper this morning, the top stories. Natasha, supporters create scene at National Assembly entrance. President to inaugurate cancer centers in Katsina, Benin, Nsukka. Adeleke Oyinlola, Osun PDP leaders back Tinubu's re-election. APC, PDP kickstart 2027 plans with key NEC meeting. Ganduje's replacement, standing committee top ruling party agenda. PDP pushes for coercion after Atiku, others exit. CBN, 8 banks meet recapitalization threshold. Eastern Rail Line project gets $3 million vote in $21 billion external borrowing plan. And Okpebolo revives Edo Line with 100 buses. Senate fumes over Ojulari's absence, and that's all from the Nation newspaper this morning.
Now to the Guardian. AGF's office denies government stake in First Old Coal PLC, calls this day Arise reports malicious. Nigeria loses $18 billion to multinationals tax evasion yearly. 210 trillion naira scandal. Senate accuses NNPCL CEO of defiance, gives 24-hour ultimatum. Benue killings, 3,160 displaced, 48 homes destroyed, says FG. Suspense as Tinubu APC NEC meet over zoning. A new chairman. That ICC renovation and renaming of public assets. Reps consider restricting politicians' families to public hospitals and schools. Stakeholders warn of setback for Nigeria, Africa as US exits UNESCO. Tension as security operatives deny Natasha access to National Assembly.
And from the Daily Trust newspaper for this morning, National Assembly bars Natasha from resuming plenary. Flood, act now, Northern elders tell federal government. Reps ask US to restore 5-year visa policy for Nigerians. Our business cannot survive on double-digit interest rates, said by entrepreneurs. 8 months after, missing child reunites with mother. Lawmakers indict 31 MDAs, ask EFCC to recover 103 billion naira, $950,000. Why Tinubu is yet to appoint ambassadors. And in sports, how Ajibade Alozi fired Nigeria into AFCON finals. And that's all from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
On the Punch, Attorney General Fagbemi's office denies government stake in First OLUWAFUNKE PLC, calls the stay, Rise reports malicious. APC may pick and do successor at make or break neck meeting. Al-Makura, Yuwada, Dalori top race, lobbying tickets, North Central demands slots, constitution review on neck agenda. Israeli protests in Tel Aviv over Gaza food shortages. Atiku warns as Pueblo Wike insists on Obi's visit clearance. Natasha heads to court after Senate blockade. ADC boys over Tinubu's endorsement by Adeleke Oyinlola.
And from the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Naira depreciates to 1,555 Naira per dollar in parallel market. Court adjourns defamation suit filed by Maharaji to October 20. Resumption bid, drama at Senate as Natasha security agent clash. Southeast resident lament sowing house rent, say it is choking. Border surveillance, no escape route for criminals in Lagos, Nigeria, said by NIS. GDP rebate does not reflect real economic realities, says ADC. Senate approves 2025 to 2026 external borrowing plan of $21.5 billion. World facing worst drought in history due to climate change, said by UN. And away from Nigeria, kidnapping, terrorism, poor healthcare, we consider planned trip to Nigeria, US tells. And that's all from the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
On Daily Independent, we are working on full implementation of Supreme Court's ruling on LG, on local governments. LG, we import 10 million barrels of crude monthly from US. Others, Dangote, says Africa loses 590 billion naira annually importing substandard fuel. 2027 election, PDP finally zones presidency to the south, holds neck to address issues bedeviling party. Founding fathers move to reclaim party's legacy. Southeast PDP disowns Odefa as national vice chair ahead of NEC. Governor Adeleke Osun PDP endorsed Tinubu for second term. New tax policy FG rolls up sleeves to actualize $1 trillion economic target. SEC eyes $500 billion windfall from commodities exchanges. warehousing reforms. Nothing elders warn of flood disaster, seek FG's intervention, and reps seek clearer court judgment over Natasha legal standoff. Natasha slams Senate after security barred her convoy at NAS. 8 banks meets recapitalization requirements, says CBN. NPC holds policy rate steady at 27.50%. You can't celebrate rebased GDP while hunger is killing Nigerians. ADC blasts Tinubu.
Now to the details of our dailies for this morning. Still on Vanguard. Border surveillance, no escape routes for criminals in Lagos, Nigeria, said by NIS. The Comptroller of the Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS Lagos State Command, Aliyu Akadri, yesterday cautioned criminals contemplating fleeing the country to reconsider their plans, stating that intensified border surveillance has rendered such attempts futile. Akadri issued the warning during a courtesy visit to the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Command, Olorundare Jimoh, at the command headquarters in Ikeja. He said the federal government has equipped the service with sophisticated technology and modern systems, enabling it to effectively track and monitor cross-border movements.
And on the details of these top stories on Nigerian Tribune, Natasha says, I won't beg Akpabio after Senate blockade. Suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Edwang has explained why she will not beg Senate President Godswill Akpabio following her unsuccessful attempts to resume duties at the National Assembly on Tuesday. Akpoti-Edwang, representing Kogi Central, was suspended by the Senate in March for 6 months for allegedly breaching its standing orders on seat allocation, specifically Order 6. The senator had challenged a suspension at the Federal High Court in Abuja in a July 4th ruling. Justice Binta Nyako described the duration of the suspension as excessive and advised the Senate to exercise its discretion to recall her. However, the court also fined Akpoti-Edwang 5 million for contempt and directed her to publish an apology in 2 national dailies on her Facebook.
Still on Vanguard, CSO flags Naira abuse by Abuja socialites, demands EFCC probe. A civil society organization, the Initiative Against Human Rights Abuse and Torture, has petitioned the Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC) over alleged abuse of the Naira by an Abuja-based real estate entrepreneur and socialite. The petition, dated 21st July and received by the EFCC headquarters in Abuja on Tuesday, accused the individual of repeated and deliberate acts of Naira abuse during social events. And in the petition, the Inarurat's national coordinator, Jared Kachi, stated the socialite was seen spraying and trampling on Naira notes at various locations, including Esako in Edo State and Obosi in Anambra State.
Adeleke Osun PDP endorsed Tinubu for second term. The Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke and the leadership of the People's Democratic Party in the state have officially endorsed President Bola Tinubu for re-election in the 2027 presidential election. This decision comes despite recent speculation that Governor Ademola Adeleke was considering defecting to the All Progressives Congress, a move that was reportedly met with strong opposition from within the Osun State APC. The Adeleke and PDP's decision to endorse Tinubu was formalized at a stakeholders meeting held on Monday at the government house in Okefia, Osogbo.
Still from Vanguard newspaper this morning, Southeast residents lament soaring house rent, says it is choking. House rent in major cities in Southeast region, Enugu, Oka, Abakaliki, Aba, Owerri, Onitsha, Umuahia and other places have been on steady astronomical rise. Residents, particularly civil and public workers and small business owners, are crying out over the matter, saying many of them could no longer cope with the choking rent, especially in the face of excruciating economic hardship faced by Nigerians. Even landlords of houses built several years ago are involved in the rent hike craze, ironically also on the grounds of high cost of building materials for a house built over 15 to 20 years ago. The rise in rent is indeed pushing people, particularly the low-income earners, out of urban centers in Anambra State.
And Dangote says, while another refinery may not emerge in Africa again, the billionaire industrialist Alhaji Aliko Dangote issued a concerning forecast on Tuesday, emphasizing that without strong political will, it is unlikely that any new major refineries will be established in sub-Saharan Africa during the lifetime of those currently involved in the industry. Dangote made these blunt remarks during the ongoing Global Commodity Insights Conference on West African refined fuel markets, an event being held by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority in collaboration with S&P Global Insights. Dangote identified entrenched rent-seeking within the petroleum value chain across many African countries as the most formidable challenge, hindering the continent's refining capacity.
Still from Vanguard this morning, we consider planned trip to Nigeria, US tells citizens. The United States government has issued a fresh travel advisory to its citizens, warning against travel to Nigeria over unavailability of healthcare services, increasing rates of kidnapping, terrorism, and armed gang, among other crimes. The travel advisory issued as part of the U.S. security review serves as a guide for travelers planning trips to Africa, with some countries flagged as high-risk zones. Beside Nigeria, the U.S. also flagged 11 other African countries, including Somalia, Libya, Burkina Faso, South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, Burundi, Mauritania, Guinea-Bissau, Niger, and Chad, and in its global travel advisory.
Big Ganduje's successor at Make or Break Neck meeting. A new national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress may emerge on Thursday during its National Executive Council meeting in June. Former Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje resigned as the party's national chairman, citing health issues. But political analysts believe it from the party was tied to internal power play and strategic realignment within the party ahead of the 2027 elections. Thereafter, Deputy National Chairman Ali Daluri was installed as the acting national chairman of the party.
Still from Vanguard this morning, digital professional fair to empower, elevate 10,000 youth, and that's in business. The maiden edition of the Digital Professional Fair will empower and elevate 10,000 youth in the digital space. The fair, which is scheduled to hold from August 6 to 8 in Lagos, represents the flagship gathering for emerging talent, freelancers, and established professionals in the digital space. Speaking at the pre-event press briefing, convener Digital Professional Fair DTP Tutu Adetumbi said, and I quote, "This is more than a conference, it's a movement. We are building a bridge between potential and opportunity from Lagos to the world."
Atiku wants as Okwebolo Wike insists on Obi's visit clearance. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has warned against threats to opposition leaders, declaring that any threats to the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi amounts to a threat to all opposition figures. Atiku's warning comes amid a brewing row over Obi's recent visit to Edo State, which Governor Monday Okwebolo insists must follow proper security clearance protocols. Okwebolo, during the inauguration of the new Edo Line Transport Company in Benin on Tuesday, reiterated his earlier position that Obi should inform the state government of his visit, describing it as a matter of security rather than intimidation.
Still now from the Nation newspaper this morning, Tinubu to inaugurate cancer centers in Katsina, Benin and Nsukka. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will tomorrow inaugurate 3 newly completed cancer centers in Katsina, Benin and Nsukka as they are part of the 6 cancer centers under construction. Recall in March 2024 last year, the President approved the involvement of the National Sovereign Investment Authorities in upgrading 6 oncology centers for the treatment of cancer in 6 federal university teaching hospitals across the nation's geopolitical zone.
Still on the Punch, ADC boils over Tinubu endorsement by Delegate Oyinlola. The African Democratic Congress and the political landscape in Osun State became charged on Tuesday as Governor Ademola Adeleke alongside former Governor Olagunsoye Oyinlola and key leaders of the People's Democratic Party openly declared support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. The decision, announced in a communique issued after a high-profile stakeholders meeting, also confirmed Adeleke's resolve to remain in the PDP, shelving speculations of his defection to the All Progressives Congress. The development, however, drew sharp criticism from the African Democratic Congress, which accused Adeleke of political indecision and insisted that his backing of Tinubu would not save him from defeat in the next Osun governorship election.
Still from the Nation newspaper, APC, PDP kickstart 2027 plans with key neck meeting. The ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, and opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, will begin preparations for the 2027 electionary with crucial National Executive Committee neck meetings. Today, the PDP will commence the process that will culminate in its 101st NEC meeting on Friday. The meeting during which the date of its convention will be decided will lead to the election of new national officers.
And now to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian this morning,
Still from the Nation newspaper, PSC seeks NDLEA support to conduct drug integrity tests for police recruits. The Police Service Commission (PSC) is seeking the support of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) in conducting drug integrity tests for police recruits across the country. The PSC chairman, retired DIG Ashimu Agugu, made the request when he led a delegation of the PSC management on a courtesy visit to NDLEA on Tuesday in Abuja. In a statement yesterday by the NDLEA spokesman, Femi Babafemi, the PSC chairman said that the request came intending to ensure that those with the right frame of mind eventually make it out of police training colleges across the country.
And now on the Guardian, Sanwo-Olu commits to gender equity, inclusive economic growth. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has restated his administration's unwavering commitment to gender equity and inclusive economic growth as he launched the State Women Economic Empowerment policy roadmap. Sanwo-Olu, while speaking at the launch yesterday, said that the event was a pivotal step in changing the narrative. He added that the Lagos State policy roadmap, developed by the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, was a strategic, forward-thinking framework designed to address the systemic challenges.
Still from the Nation newspaper, Adeleke, Osun PDP leaders endorsed Tinubu's re-election. Adeleke and the leadership of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the state yesterday endorsed the re-election of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. The endorsement came after the stakeholders meeting at the government house in Okefia, Osogbo. Also at the meeting, it was unanimously agreed that the members should stay in the PDP after move to join the All Progressives
and Arise TV suggesting that 25% of First Bank Holdings shares were transferred to the federal government of Nigerian trustees. The report saying the report is inaccurate, misleading and resentful, malicious. Neither the federal government of Nigeria nor the Attorney General, according to him, and Minister of Justice participated in acquiring the shares in question. The Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice debunked the falsehood to prevent confusion or misconception about First Holdco's ownership and governance.
Still from the Nation newspaper this morning, Wike inaugurates 100 buses to revive Edo Line Transport Company. Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister Nyesom Wike yesterday inaugurated 100 buses belonging to the new Edo Line Transport Company revived by Governor Monday Okpebholo. The state-owned transport firm was founded in 1968 and was grounded in 2010. As part of his promise to revive dead industries in the state, Okpebholo bought the 100 new buses for the transport companies. Speaking during the inauguration of the buses at the Central Park in Benin, Wike said Governor Okpebholo was showing why the residents should re-elect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. Then the FCT minister praised the Edo people for re-electing Okpebholo as their governor.
Yeah, I'm afraid this is where we draw the curtain on our newspaper review this morning. Thank you for joining us. It's Vicinity 95.3 FM. Do well to stay tuned on this dial. I am OLUWAFUNKE and AISHA, and thanks to our producer, Jibola Akoli, for always holding the fort.
Yeah, I am Aisha Ibrahim, and thank you for joining the newspaper review this morning. Do have a great day.
We are your connection to the sounds that surround you.
I'm a dog, but I hit music belongs here.
I got the keys to the city.
This is Vicinity FM 95.3.
We lead while others follow. We lead while others follow. Vicinity FM 95.3. We lead while others follow. Àwa làgbà wọn. Aṣíwájú.